Boom! Welcome into SportsBIT. Betting Insight today, Paulie and Teddy. It is Tuesday. Big game breakdown. We'll get to the Twins and the Yankees. Big series coming up. That series continues, rather. Game 2 of a 3-game set. And we'll also get to Thursday night football early because we got a lot to do here this week. We'll do the Rams and the 49ers on NFL Network. Deep dive, Dave Mason, BetOnline. Recap the fight. That debacle with the draw, and we'll talk football as well. We look to stay red hot with the play of the day before we get out of here. Monday Night Football recap. Another winner, under 42. Giants horror show. 13 points on the season, Teddy. Brandon Marshall, 1 catch. Eli, they get the delay a game. They said first and goal from the 1 and couldn't punch it in. They finally score. Ingram grabs his crotch. They're penalized on that. They can't run the ball. Beckham had 4 catches for 36 yards. Giants are 0-2. They go to Philly, and only 12% of teams that have started 0-2 have made the playoffs. I was dead wrong on this team. There's a lot of football left, but they have a lot of things to clean up on offense.
Yeah, and then certainly when it comes to last night's game, it was all about the Giants' offense, the fact that it didn't work. 14 first downs for the G-men, only 4.9 yards per play. OBJ gets back in the lineup. He wasn't really a factor. Eli sacked 5 times in that contest. And what's going on right now? It's real simple. The Giants can't run the football. So Eli's play faking, and the defense ignored it. the running backs don't threaten anybody. Here's a quote from Giants head coach Ben McAdoo. "I'll tell you the same thing I told the players. Put the game on me. We're not playing complete complementary football. Just too many issues. We've got to play and feed off each other, and we're not doing that right now. And I've got to find a way to make that work." I agree, McAdoo. You do have to find a way to make that work. In the meantime, Giants are 0-2 straight up and 0-2 against the number. They've lost both games against the spread by double-digit margins.
He got credit for what happened last year, and it was because of the defense, not the offense. And they struggled last year, but still won 11 games. As a result of the Lions winning outright, a huge ticket was cashed here in Las Vegas at the Mirage. A guy had a 5-team parlay for $8,500. He laid the points with the Raiders, Ravens, Chiefs, Patriots, and then had Lions money line. He wins $250,000. Hey, why would he hedge? He doesn't have to hedge. He's betting a 5-teamer for $8,500. He's good. Earlier on Sunday, he beat him up for $30,000. He had a $5,000 parlay with the Chiefs, Raiders, and Baltimore that cashed, Teddy.
Though the truth is that MGM will welcome this guy's action again the next time. You know,
oh, sure.
If you're betting $8,500 5-team parlays, the books want your action. And kudos, he cashed a big score, $250,000. That's a lot of money for one weekend's, basically, 2 days worth of NFL action to put in your pocket. But that's the liability that sports books face. We talk about the straight bets and how bad the straight bets are sometimes for the books. The parlay liability is for the days and the weekends where the sports books really get beaten up. We'll talk a little bit about that with Dave Mason later on in today's deep dive later in the show.
Wednesday's deep dive, we'll go through all the win totals in Major League Baseball. A lot of them are already decided, so we'll get to that coming up. But it's September. You're better off just betting these dogs, as teams usually vomit on themselves. Case in point, must win doesn't always, just because you have to, it doesn't mean you're going to win. Look at this. Twins are 8-9 in September. The Mariners are 8-8. The Angels are 7-8. The Royals are 8-9. The Rangers are 7-9. The Rays are 6-9. And the Orioles are 5-12. And how about the Angels? The Indians have won, 24 or 25? They're underdogs, and they're throwing Clevenger today, who's allowed 1 run in his last 4 starts. The markets are even pricing in the must-win garbage, Teddy.
They sure are. And, we say the same thing basically every year in every sport. We say it in the NFL when it comes to Week 16, Week 17. We say it in college football when teams are playing for bowl eligibility in late November. We say it in the NBA when teams are fighting for playoff spots, et cetera, et cetera. Must win does not equal will win. And these wild card contenders records, not a one of them has a winning record in September. If you're fading these squads, you're making money. I understand why Cleveland's a dog. Tyler Skaggs coming off a brilliant effort, and he's a pitcher the markets have a ton of respect for. But the bottom line, if you're fading the must-win teams, certainly in the American League, you made a whole lot of money so far this month. I'm not convinced it ends over the final week and a half of the campaign.
Here it is again. Just bet the underdogs, right? Bad bet. Dodgers open 320, closed as high as $4. Here in Vegas at Station Casinos, Kershaw, for the first time in his career, gives up a grand slam. Good point by John Smoltz. How many times are the bases actually loaded against Kershaw? But look at this tweet for Elias. Kershaw and Pivetta. It was the largest disparity in ERA between two stars with a minimum of 20 starts in the same game since 1913. Kershaw had a 2.12. Pivetta had a 6.75. Guy's got an ERA of almost 7. He's made 20 starts. That shows you where the Phillies are at. And the Dodgers can't do much with Pivetta. They get 2 runs in the first and lose 4-3.
I mean, the Phillies started 5 rookies last night. They talk about all the energy they have, all the enthusiasm. Yeah, all that's probably true. But it didn't make a difference with Kershaw giving up his first grand. Hey, you got to say this. I mean, he was due to give up a grand slam. A great tweet from Jason Stark. We weren't able to put it on the show, but let me just read that info here for you. That was the 104th hitter that Kershaw had faced with the bases loaded. The first 103 had hit a $193 against him with 0 slams, 34 strikeouts, and only 17 hits. Yeah, bad bet on the Dodgers last night. Philly gets the money as big dogs in those $3 underdogs cash. Man, it doesn't happen every day in MLB.
This one's odd. Orioles open $1.05, closed 130 at home against the Red Sox. Bundy couldn't hold a 5-0 lead. Boston wins 10-8 in extra innings. They stay 3 games ahead of the Yankees in the East.
Yeah, and the Orioles, let's call it what it are. They're officially out of the wild card race right now.
Yeah.
Baltimore has had a dismal September. Their starting pitching has finally doomed their chances.
Bad for the books. 2 totals. Mets Marlins total 8.5 up to 9. Harvey gave up 7 runs in 4 innings, and Stanton his 55th home run. And the Twins Yankees under from 9 to 8.5. Only 12 hits. Garcia shut the Twins down. Santana made 1 mistake. All rise. Judge hit his 44th home run. 2-1 Yankees.
Yeah, I'm baffled as to why the Mets keep sending out Matt Harvey to the hill. The Marlins batted .500 against him last night. They had 12 hits. Harvey had only 2 strikeouts. He has an ERA of 13.19 in 4 starts since coming back to the rotation. 32 hits allowed versus 8 strikeouts. Matt Harvey's not right. And if the Mets send him out to the hill again, it'll be bad for the books the next time if they post a total of 8.5 on a Matt Harvey game right now. The erstwhile ace is going through some serious struggles, as is his team down the stretch of the 2017 MLB campaign.
Up next, big game breakdown. Thursday night football, Rams and the 49ers, and the big game tonight, Twins and the Yankees on SportsBIT. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBIT, betting insight today, Paulie and Teddy. Time for big game breakdown. Always sponsored and powered by BetOnline. Check out the bonus page at sportsbookreview.com for the latest and best offers to open account today and the largest menu you want out there, any type of wager and promotion you're looking for at BetOnline. Thursday night football, NFL Network, Rams 2 on the road, 40 the total. Shanahan's gone from the best offense to probably the worst. You look at this, one of several teams yet to score a touchdown. They have 4 field goals, 4 turnovers, no touchdowns, and 11 points. Hoyer's completed 63% of his passes, but only 292 yards. He's the new Charlie Checkdown, Teddy.
Yeah, so far through 2 games, Brian Hoyer's longest pass of the season is 22 yards. But throw that graphic up one more time. The 49ers have 102 plays so far this season. 4 turnovers, 6 sacks, 11 punts, no touchdowns. Yeah. That's not good offense. Now, they did get a big game from Carlos Hyde at Seattle. 15 rushes for 124 yards, 3 catches for 19. So maybe there's hope in that regard. But remember that quote, we were talking about it in the preseason, where the 49ers said, this is a really complex offense. This is going to take some time to gel. So far, it hasn't gelled at all. And a bigger problem for San Fran when it comes to a short week, and remember, the Thursday nights is a short week. It's a really short week. So the offense hasn't been able to do anything. The defense has played really well. They've hung in there, but they were on the field for 79 official snaps on Sunday, plus 3 snaps that were undone by penalty. So they were on the field for 82 snaps on Sunday. That creates an issue of a short turnaround. And of course, they're likely to be without safety. Well, not likely. They're going to be without safety Eric Reed, who's a difference maker on that defense. He's got a knee injury that's going to keep him out.
Well, hey, the Rams actually look like an NFL team. They beat the Colts, which they almost dropped 50 on them. And then, they were right there with the Redskins. They were favored. They get Donald back, but they got gashed on the ground. Redskins 5.9 yards per carry. Thompson had the 61-yard run there. Goff looks better. He's developing under McVay. 6.8 yards per play against the Redskins. He had a key interception and a fumble. The Rams are number 6 in yards per play through 2 games at 6.2 after being 4-4 in 2016. You look at Goff's numbers, the passer rating way up from last year, 63.6 to 103.2. The completion percentage way up, and yards per play as well. He didn't have a chance with Fisher. You get Gurley going a little bit. He had a touchdown catch. It was a strange game last week, but they were in it. So at least McVay had to have them headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 49ers were in their game last week. Just the defense ran out of gas at the end in the fourth quarter. We talk about how many plays they were on the field. Seattle's last 2 drives, well, the first one they marched down the field and got into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. And the second one, they marched down the field and ran out the clock with just shy of 5 minutes remaining. Got, I think, 3 first downs on that final drive against San Francisco's worn-down defense. The Rams defense got some questions. I mean, yeah, you talk about the issues with the running, with the Redskins running the football. I mean, they had the 61-yard touchdown run by Chris Thompson. You give up 229 yards on the ground, and you're going up against Carlos Hyde, who had a really good game last week. And those Goff numbers, they're impressive, no question. When your completion percentage goes up 12 in one offseason, when your QB rating goes up 40 through the first 2 games, when your yards per pass attempt goes from 5.3 to 9.8, those are all impressive numbers. That being said, he faced the Colts defense and the Redskins defense at home, and Todd Gurley was able to run this past week. 16 for 88, 3 catches, 48 yards. Quote from Gurley: last year, it would have been a lot different. It would have been 27-3 instead of us, as an offense, being able to put points on the board and being able to keep our defense in it. It's a start. Of course, they lost 27-20, not 27-3, but they still didn't win the game. They still didn't get the money, and the defense didn't get the stops they needed in order to cash.
Give me the Rams. I like the Rams on the road. There's 0 home field advantage for the 49ers. It's actually a home field disadvantage. You saw there was nobody there week 1 when they lost to the Panthers. Fans aren't coming out. They don't want to support that product. I'll take the Rams on the road in that one. Game number 2. BetOnline, Twins and the Yankees tonight. Sabathia against Barrios. Yankees $1.60, 8.5 the total. AL wild card. Yankees are going to make the playoffs. Now a comfortable 5-game lead over the Twins. The Twins have a 1.5 lead for the second wild card over the Angels. Twins have a better record on the road than at home. So they lost last night. The Yankees have owned them since 2001. And they have the big road trip. They started this road trip. They play the Yankees, then Detroit, and then Cleveland. Barrios, a year ahead of schedule at 23, but some issues on the road. Look at these numbers. Throw that graphic up. 8-1 at home with a 2.45. 4-6 with a 5.14 on the road. Good numbers here, Teddy, but I don't like the comments coming out of Paul Molitor saying they pressed and they had a horrible approach yesterday. He was swinging at everything in that key game. Now, these are big games in September. Remember, they lost 103 games last year. They weren't expected to do anything. Now they made Garcia look like Cy Young as he struck out 9 guys.
Yeah, and I had a piece of Minnesota in my pocket yesterday. Was disappointed with their offensive effort. I thought Santana might go in there and pitch well, which he did. But you talked about that record. They've been very profitable on the highway, 39-33 on the road, top 3 in MLB profitability in that regard. But their last 18 as road dogs are only 6-12. They haven't been cashing tickets down the stretch the same way. And you talked about Molitor's quote, how his team's pressing. They're not used to being in intense September playoff atmosphere games at Yankee Stadium. And you talked about the splits from Barrios. A guy who, the home road splits, the ERA is twice as high on the highway. Those aren't fluky. Look at this graph. With the innings pitched, he has more walks on the road. He has fewer strikeouts on the road. The home runs allowed on the road, 4 times as many as he has at Target Field in Minnesota. And, of course, it's not just the starter. It's the bullpens. Look at the disparity between these two pens. The Twins pen pitched great last night, but when it comes to which bullpen do you trust in a close game, it's not close. Yankees pen has all the edges.
Well, the Twins traded their closer, their all-star closer at the deadline. Their own management and front office didn't believe on them, the cheap bastards. Yankees 8-2 in their last 10, scoring 64 runs, still within shouting distance of the Red Sox, although nice job, Major League Baseball. They don't play each other in the final 2 weeks. They're done. Sabathia coming off extra rest. He has owned the Twins in his career. Terrific numbers as well. Chapman has found his game again. Betances came in, couldn't find the strike zone. You know, Paul Muller, stop at the sacrifice bunt. This is in 1982. Don't give up and out. Betances walked 2 guys and hit another one. How bad did the sack bunt look that you gave it out away? Chapman came in, struck out Mauer on 3 pitches, and got out of it. Last 6 appearances, 7 innings, no runs, 12 strikeouts, and 2 hits. It's a nasty bullpen, Teddy, no doubt about it.
Well, the key is that Sabathia isn't being priced like an ace, which he's not. But Girardi isn't asking for Sabathia to do a whole lot right now. He's only averaging 5.1 innings per game since the All-Star break. What Girardi's asking him to do? Get through the lineup twice. Give me 2 passes. Let's call him the first reliever. It's almost a bullpen game. They don't want 6, 7 strong from CC. They get 5. They're happy. And obviously, you know, they're not talking about a guy who you have to pay a premium price to support when it comes to the Yankees hurlers. We have seen a fair bit of early money on the Yanks, although there has been some buyback. There was some buyback right before we went on air, where a little bit of money came in on Minnesota.
We'll get to this game coming up. Dave Mason, BetOnline up next. The fight, the draw, Patriots, Broncos, Oklahoma State money, big public team, and also Memphis beating UCLA. That's coming up on SportsBIT. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
And welcome back to SportsBIT. It is deep dive time, and like we do every Tuesday during football season, we're joined by Dave Mason from BetOnline AG. Dave, welcome to the program.
Teddy, how are you?
I'm doing all right, you know. I can't complain. It was a decent weekend from my end. I won my bigger plays, but that's not what we're here to talk about, how I did. What we're trying to decide or determine each week is how the books did. Was it a good week? Was it a bad week? Did you guys get clobbered? What were the best games? What were the worst games? We got to start with the fight on Saturday night, where the draw was paying out, 15-1, 20-1? I know that was not a good result for BetOnline AG.
Well, yeah, I mean, the draw was, I think we had it at 20-1. It might have moved down a little bit. It was pretty much a wash, It was, we had a bunch of props up there. That's where they could bet the draw. So, you take up. The thing is with some of those props is like the round betting, for instance, when they're betting people, Canelo first round, Canelo second round, Canelo third round, etc. You take so much more action in those rounds because the payout is bigger than the draw. If you just had like a method of victory only, Canelo by TKO, KO, by decision, then Triple G the same, and then the draw. So where there's only 5 selections, then yeah, you get beat up on the draw on those, but you add the round betting and the group round betting, and there's so much more action on the higher payout rounds that, you end up breaking even. We won a little bit on the props, but yeah, the fight was pretty disappointing altogether with that draw coming in. The action was great. Nowhere near as big as a few weeks ago with that Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight, but it was still easily the second biggest fight of the year. But just putting it in perspective, we took about an 1/8, a 1/7 of the action, not including props, just the odds to win compared to Mayweather-McGregor a few weeks ago. So, and then you add all those props, and there would have been probably about 1/20th the amount of action as that fight a few weeks ago. Yeah, but it was disappointing. The draw's never fun, especially when there's controversy behind it. Especially, I'm a boxing fan, but it's one black eye after one black eye. That scoring's just crazy, but whatever.
Well, that's why the sport is where it is today, and in gradual decline over the better part of the last 40 years. Boxing's gone nothing but south, and part of it has been controversial decisions like this one. So I remember a conversation I had, had to be 15 years ago, with Bob Scucci, who's now the head odds maker for Boyd Gaming here in Vegas, and he said that boxing lines and lines on fights were its sportsbook's biggest vulnerability, and he was genuinely worried about setting good lines for fights. Do you have that same issue nowadays with BOL, or are you pretty confident in the numbers that you're putting up?
No, we're confident. That's always in the back of your mind, though. It's always, when you have, you have judges out there with human error, and then the whole way boxing's set up with no, it's not just one leg where with a commission and everything. It's just so that's in the back of your mind, but you can't really let it affect you. You gotta. I bet boxing and a lot of MMA too, and MMA has kind of that problem too of controversial judging and all that kind of stuff. And you just got, as a bettor, you just got to kind of tell yourself, you know what, I got screwed that fight, but I've won fights on that too. I always get mad when I lose a fight with a controversial decision, but you got to keep those ones where you lucked out. You got to keep. I mean, I've had bets where I was like, oh my God, I'm 2 seconds from ripping my ticket. Then all of a sudden I'm doing backflips. So you really, as a bettor, you really got to stay grounded and remember that. But setting the lines, not really. We do well, sure helped that fight a few weeks ago. That's going to help our 2017 fight handle. But no, it's not as boxing. I mean, it's not as, those big fights get a heck of a lot of handle, sure, but besides that, the handle isn't nearly. I don't think it's as big as it used to be. I'm not really sure, but UFC has taken away some of that handle too. A lot more people bet in UFC, so that doesn't help boxing, I don't think, at all. But who knows, man? It's disappointing, but what can you do?
We're talking here, of course, with Dave Mason from BetOnline.ag. Last question about the fight. Would you have rather paid off the Triple G bettors, or would you rather have had the draw?
Triple G. We wanted Triple G. Yeah.
No question about it. Okay. Let's talk about the NFL on Sunday, because certainly the early games, the early games looked like the house was going to get destroyed. Favorites winning, favorites covering, by and large. But in the late games, the underdogs came to bite. And then, of course, on Sunday night, even though the wise guys had Atlanta, most of the public seemed to be on Green Bay. Let's talk about, from the Bet-Online perspective, what were your best games for the house on Sunday, and what game did you get slapped around on?
Yeah, you pretty much hit right on the nail on the head there. Early games that was just brutal. That was probably the worst set of 1 o'clock games we've ever had. Hey, I can't think of a worse outcome after outcome.
Ever?
1 o'clock game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't have the exact numbers ahead in front of me, but I can't remember being down that much. Now, again, that has to do with too. We're still growing pretty good here, so we have more actives around, NFL week 2 than compared to NFL week 2 last year and the previous year, etc. So you got to factor that too. But yeah, that was a beatdown, especially that Patriots game. I mean, that was I never remember a day game with that much exposure on one side. I mean, it was like a Monday Night Football game of years past. So I mean, that was just I forget like 82% of the action, the money was on the Patriots, and so that was a beatdown, man. All those early games, one after the other. The Steelers, that wasn't any good. Buccaneers, you just go down the list as one after the other. Late games, we did make a little bit of a comeback. A decent sized comeback. We cut into that huge loss. The Broncos was our best game by far the day. That was humongous. The 49ers, that was big. The Raiders killed us, though. I mean, the public won huge on the Raiders. The three biggest games of the day were the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Broncos game, the Cowboys. Everybody's all over the Cowboys. So we went 1-2 in those games. And the late game, yeah, that was good for the house as well. The total was horrible. Players won the total. We won the spread. There wasn't a huge decision on the spread, but we won the spread. And the money line was big as everybody was taking that plus money underdog, the Packers. So, yeah, that was good for the house. Add it all up.
So, overall for the day, Dave, real quick, just overall for the day, did you guys make out okay, or did you get slapped around a little bit on Sunday?
We got slapped around, Teddy. The players took it to us. It wasn't as bad as 1 o'clock games. We ate into that big loss, but it was still a nice win for the players. So congrats to them.
We've got just a few moments left here with Dave Mason from BetOnline AG. Dave, real quick, let's go to Saturday's action in college football. What were the biggest results for you guys on Saturday? Good day or bad day for the house?
It was a little choppy. It was the action was good. The games weren't as big as they were the previous week. So the previous week you had that huge schedule. But no, the action was really good. The players won on, let's see, that Louisville Clemson game. That was just absolutely massive, and that was one of those games too where the public was on Clemson minus the points, but the public was on Louisville money line, and that was actually a good decision because we had much bigger money line exposure. So that game was good. I'm just going down the list here. Penn State, they keep rolling. Oklahoma State was big for the public. What else here? That Florida-Tennessee game, that ended up being pretty good for the house too, mostly because of the money line. The spread was kind of chop, but the money line was great for us. Memphis winning outright, that was really good for us. UCLA was one of the bigger games of the day. Sharps were on Memphis though, so I was down to like 2.5, and then the public was just piling in on UCLA. So that was really big for the house. So those are some of the biggest decisions.
So overall on Saturday, good day or bad day for BetOnline.ag?
It was a decent day. It wasn't great. It was a decent day. You add in the NFL, and the players definitely had a good weekend.
Right on. Dave Mason from BetOnline.ag. What do we got going this week? Any specials that our viewers need to know about right here on SportsBIT?
Yes, sir. Well, we still have the earliest opening football odds in the industry. Tune in every Sunday for the earliest college and pro NFL openers for the following week. People gobble those up, man. When we hit those college numbers hit the screen, boy, people gobble them up. So don't miss out on that. That's better than any bonus you can get. But speaking of bonuses, we have a 50% sign-up bonus. Use promo code NEW2500 for 50% sign-up bonus. We have a Bitcoin bonus. Use promo code BTC17 for 100% Bitcoin bonus. And all the terms and conditions can be found at betonline.ag/promotions.
Sounds good. Dave Mason, we'll do it again next week. Thanks so much for joining us right here on SportsBIT.
Wrapping it up on SportsBIT. Great job, Teddy and Dave Mason. And that was a game we had, that UCLA-Memphis. Our play of the day was Memphis. Mora is now 3-12-1. Non-conference run. That's a horrible run. They have a bad defense. That was an entertaining game to start the day on Saturday. Money time. Back to this one. Betting number 916. A little bit of money here, and we respect it, and we agree with the move. Let's lay the $1.60 with the Yankees at home against the Twins. It's a bullpen mismatch, and the Twins haven't won the season series against the Yankees since 2001. Right now it stands 2-2, and they're throwing Big Sexy on Wednesday. Figure the Yankees will win that one too. I think the Yankees get the broom out on the Twins. And Judge, he sees how many home runs Barrios is allowed on the road. He went deep yesterday on Santana. He could go deep again in this one. Let's lay it with the Yankees and stay red hot with the play of the day. Wednesday, over more baseball games, little college football as well, and an update on MLB Win Totals. Thanks for watching, and a huge response. The views were huge for the Monday Night Football breakdown with the Giants and the Lions. Tell your friends, great info here you won't find anywhere else on SportsBIT. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.